This is WFO Radio.
WFO Radio. We are back on social. We're back on YouTube. We're back on Twitter. We've been on a lot this week, and it has been going great. We started it off with the Ignition Show and went through Alan Reinhardt and Alex Laughlin. And yesterday, Bobby Lagana joined us. And what would be a better way to bring our broadcast week to a conclusion here on WFO Radio Podcast than with Alexis DeJoria? That is certainly the plan. We're trying to get connected with Alexis right now. Also, Andy Carter, the general manager of the Texas Motorplex, going to be joining us talking about the Stampede of Speed coming up around the AAA Texas Fall Nationals. And I just like to say Stampede of Speed. Woo! And, I know I'm not a cowboy. It's been a great week, a big week, a fun week, and we're getting ready for the big Western Swing out there in Denver, Bandimere Speedway. And I have been openly encouraging fans to get out to the racetrack and enjoy it. We're going to have so much fun. There's going to be jet cars. There's going to be nighttime qualifying. It's going to be awesome, and I'm super excited about it. All right, well, we're waiting to get connected with Alexis and Andy. The good news is we've got the WFO audience out there. But right now, I want to tell you about the people who make it possible for me to do the show. And I always do this at the very beginning. And you're always thinking, people are like, he mentions his sponsors an awful lot. And yes, they are the lifeblood of the broadcast, the ones who make it possible. So maybe you don't need them right now, but somewhere down the road, you will. And when you do, think hey, man, Total Seal, I'm building an engine. And Castello is always talking about Total Seal piston rings and how great they are and why they are more powerful and better technology and last longer and thinner and smaller than anything else out there. Maybe I'll go to TotalSeal.com and check out the website. And that's exactly how it works. And I'm very excited about that. TotalSeal.com, brand new episodes of Hidden Horsepower Live. They got a Facebook page. They've got it all going on. Also, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. Speaking of great race car drivers that got their start at Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, my goodness. Oh, I'm starting to see Alexis down there. All right. And the blood pressure comes down a little bit. FrankHawley.com sent out a release about Anson Brown yesterday while we were on the air. And just to think about Autumn Height and Anson Brown and all these, young people that are going through Frank Hawley's to focus on their career in drag racing. I think it is awesome. Now, maybe you don't want to have a career in drag racing. Maybe you just want to drive a dragster and see what it's like. They've got a program for that too. It's called the Dragster Adventure. Go to FrankHawley.com to find out more information. Also, samtech.edu down there in Houston, Texas. Houston, Texas. If you have been to NHRA.com in the last 20 minutes, you saw some news, but I'm not going to tie it to the Samtech commercial. We'll separate it from the Samtech commercial because they are great. They're down there in the Houston area. They're educating the next generation of machinists and engine builders and programmers and EFI tuners, young people who want an education that can never be taken away from them. Samtech.edu. Tell them you heard about it on WFO Radio. And then there's Marvin Rodak, who's not changing the world. He's making coffee, and it's awesome. He's changing my world every day when I get fired up with a little Rodak's coffee. Marvin Rodak, 817-924-6821. And, I've never mentioned this, but if you've got a team or a business, he can make a blend of coffee for you, proprietary stuff that, maybe you want your own blend of coffee. Like we have our own WFO radio blend. You should try it. It is great stuff. Marvin Rodak at rodakscoffeeandgrills.com. I see Alexis. I see you're testing out different angles. You've got about 20 more seconds to get dialed in. As I mentioned, our friends at Nitro Fish, get yourself a WFO t-shirt at the Nitro Fish trailer, and you can always go to our store. And here she is, the driver of the Bandero Premium Tequila Toyota Camry Nitro Funny Car, Alexis DeJoria. Alexa,
hi guys.
How are
that
you?
Might be better. Okay, that's good.
Great, it's great. No bad.
The lighting.
How are you doing?
I'm really good, thank you. I just got off a 2-hour training session with my trainer. That's been really good. So it's hot out here, but we're making it through, and it's been nice having this little bit of time off. We went and tested at Denver right after the last race. Pretty much, we went out there and tested on Friday and got just a couple, just a couple extra runs in before the race. I know it's completely different there, and we just wanted to get a head start, and it paid off. We did really well, so I'm excited about this race.
I'm excited for you as well, and that's good that you got some notes. But let's start where we started. Let's talk about that workout. Like what, was it a leg day? Was it cardio? Like, what do you do? And is your training directly related to driver improvement, or is it more about general health?
Both really. We do a lot of circuit training, so it's constant switching it up. It's kind of like surprising your muscles. You're doing one thing and then you're kind of shocking it doing another thing. That's what I've usually done, over the years. The circuit training is really good. A lot of core work and strength training, and then hand-eye coordination. We do a lot of that stuff too. And then going for runs and like the 90-degree weather with 90% humidity. That's a good way to get ready for Denver.
Yeah, exactly. Breathing that water, right? And that's it makes it a little hard on the body, but I love it. It's great. Everyone was super excited about you coming on the show. We always try to pre-promote, and I love the fact that you're back. This is the first time we're having you on the show since you've been back. I remember we did it's crazy to think about this, but we did the track walk together in Arizona in 2020. And I was feeling so excited about what was about to happen. And then who knew what lie ahead, right?
Right.
And it was terrible and it was a bummer, but here we are back going again. And I don't know, I feel like your team, I talked to Dell in New England. He brought us through your whole pit area. You've had some good races. I'm feeling like you're about to hit your stride. What do you think?
I think so too. We have these 3 back-to-back races, which is always great. You get to, stay on point. Everybody stays warm, we really have a great car. We're top 5, top 3 qualifying at pretty much every race with an exception of couple. But when they're doing good, they give me the greatest car ever. Sometimes we'll go out and not run as good or smoke the tires, but it's very rare. And sometimes, I'll lose a race, and like that last one was really upsetting because I know we had the car to do it. But like I said, it's a team. So, I'll go and hang my head in the crew chief lounge and say, guys, I'm sorry. We're human and we're not always going to do the best. And, Dell's a driver, he's been through it. He knows about it. And he goes, I've lost a championship on a hole shot. And he broke the world record in the dragster. He's like, so don't feel so bad. I was like, okay. But that's really like one of the greatest things about working with Del Worsham is that he's been on every angle of it. He's won championships, he's lost races, he's done it all. So I'm really, really blessed to have the ability to be able to work with him and Nikki Bonifani too, who's just been my friend forever.
A birthday boy.
Yeah.
Yesterday. Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Nikki.
Happy birthday, Nikki. Happy belated birthday. But we really do have the car to do it right now. And hopefully, the driver will be on point all weekend and we'll do well.
Well, I want to say this in a delicate and specific way, but when you struggle and you put it on yourself, I think that's good, because that makes people want to connect with you and realize that this is a very hard and challenging thing. And I guess it was New England, like you took it upon yourself. You knew you had a fast car and you're trying to catch up to a situation. And when you do that, I think it earns people's respect. I know you would rather not have to struggle, but that's a process.
It is a process. Yeah. Once you start thinking these cars are like, oh, we got this in the bag, something will happen and completely change your viewpoint. Like that race, against Robert Height, I didn't think we were going to go out and smoke the tires at all. I thought for sure we had them covered and we were down there, and I'm like, all right. And then smoked the tires, and in all honesty, I wasn't ready for it because I wasn't expecting it to happen. Which isn't an excuse. Like, you need to be ready for anything to happen. But when the car's been consistently going down the track like a bracket car, and then all of a sudden it smokes the tires at the top end, you're like, whoa. And then it clicks. You're like, okay, I got to let it settle. It got a little sideways, let it settle and get back on it. But the trouble is you don't know what he's doing back there. And then he sees me get in trouble. So then he gets back on it and passes you or me, and that's the end of our day. But it is constantly humbling, which makes those wins that much more important and special, when you do go through those struggles and you know how hard it is to get there. It's not just about going straight all the time. I mean, there's so much more, that it entails.
We've got an audience out there on social media, many of your fans and our fans coming on. Blake in Ohio saying, "What's up?" Blake is a fixture on the show. Monica saying hello. Good luck on the Western Swing.
Thank you.
Mike
Thank
Cage says he's high on the hog in Victoria Harbor, Ontario, Canada.
Woo!
Alexis, you are great. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Chuck, don't be hard on yourself. You're a great driver, and we all know it. All of these people weighing in on it. I want to talk about the return to NHRA drag racing, though. You stepped away and then you came back. And to me, like, what is the saying? Like, if you love something, set it free and it'll return back. And here you came back and you did it. You're doing it now in a way that you're surrounded by, not that you weren't before, but with Dell and with Nikki, and you own the team and you're the sponsor. Bandero Premium Tequila is the sponsor. We'll talk about it, but it's just, you're doing it exactly. And you tell me, seems like you're doing it exactly as you want to do it to make it maximum fun and return for you.
Yes. Having our own team, Dell and I, DC Motorsports is a different, deal. Obviously, not being a part of a bigger team where you can share information. But on all honesty, I used to think it was super important to have other cars, and at the end of the day, I mean, there's a lot of single car teams that are doing well. I do miss that camaraderie of having the other cars out there, the other teams to root for. They're still all our friends at Kalitta's, and I love them dearly. We get to pit next to each other sometimes. But the greatest gift of having your own team is you get to make those decisions. Like, if we want to go test in Denver, we're going to go test in Denver, and we don't have to clear it with anybody else. And that's something that a lot of people don't do, is test out there. I know we were the only ones to go out and test, but it really, I mean, it served its purpose, and I'm glad we did it. And I think all of us at the end of that test session just could like breathe and be like, okay, we've got something, because we're all chomping at the bit. We know what we have. We know we can win. It's just a matter of all of us being good at the same time. Like, the guys getting the car right, and me cutting good lights and pedaling at a better speed, and just all that coming together. And it is just the second year of me coming back out here, so I have to kind of go easy on myself, which is really hard to do.
Sure.
But I'll be the first one to tell you, hey, I make a mistake, man. That's on me, and I take that to heart. So every time there's something happens, like, you just, like, you learn from it and you work harder, and you try to not make the same mistakes again.
See, I like the fact that you decided to go testing there at one track. That's a one-off. That's so many like, well, we're going to, because you want to break through for a win, and you know that you're on the verge. So what do you do when you're on the verge? Do you pull back, or do you get aggressive? And you guys got aggressive.
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
That is good. And then, of course, the swing, we're going to Sonoma, we're going to Pomona. And it's not even 2 years, it's 2 calendar years. But as far as races under your belt since you've been back, it's different. And putting together a team, there's got to be a lot of challenges. Dell is very well connected, and so is Nikki. Yeah. So when it comes to like guys that know how to do it, they got them. But still building a team, a culture, a chemistry. What do we stand for? What kind of team are we? I'm sure there's a lot to that.
There really is. We're a strong team. Everybody on my car wants to be there. They're very passionate. We've got some young ones, some older guys, and for the most part, I mean, like, everybody gels, and everyone gets along, and they're stoked. They're just super stoked to be there. And I'm really grateful to have the team that we have right now. Some were from the team that Dell and Nikki were running over at Kalitta's when I left. And, some are from my old team. When I did leave in 2017, I had like a few of the guys on the crew left as well. And so, there was only like maybe 2 or 3 that were still on there. So they came over, thank God. I try to keep all the team together as much as possible. It's hard out there. Teams, like, people just, they change out so much. but that's the kind of, that's the kind of life it is. We're a traveling road show, and people get tired of working with the same people all the time. Luckily, that hasn't happened to me yet. People love working with Dell and Nikki too, so that's a win-win situation. But yeah, we're excited to get back on the Western Swing. I think this is going to be really good for our team to have these back-to-back races and just stay strong.
Good for everybody. Good for our whole sport, because, I say it all the time. I don't know, maybe the listeners get a little tired of it, but this is not normal business. We're all kind of coming out of a thing here, and we got to get our fans back, man. We got to get them fired up. It was good. Like when Cruz won the race, like his fans felt happy, right? Like your fans want to feel happy. That's so important.
Even though he beat me, but honestly, I beat myself, but they were running good too. Like, I'm not going to discount anything that Cruz's team is doing. They're doing fantastic. They're really killing it this year. So I was we didn't win. Trust me, I wanted to win, but I was also really stoked for him to win. I mean, he is my competitor, but in the pits, we're friendly, and I was happy to see him go out there, and get it done. And I'm sure his daughter was really happy too. His little girl was there, so that's always fun when you can share that with your family. Because we're on the track for a very small amount of time. Sorry, I am.
We're getting a tour of your house.
I'm letting my AT&T guy in.
I like
and,
the nice oven hood.
Some boxes here. So here, I will just let him. Hey, come in.
There he is. Let us talk to him. Let us
talk to him. So my Wi-Fi went out, and my cable. So he's just coming in to get that fixed. But we're in the car for a very short amount of time. So when we're not, you get to know everybody really well. We all have kids or wives, or husbands or whatever. But it all works out. So yeah, that was good. But I feel like these next 3 races are going to be really, really good for our team. And I think we're going to win one of them at least.
I do. I almost don't want to say this. I want to save it until afterwards, but I'll tell you, right? Like, I get feelings every now and again. It's pretty obvious that you guys are in the neighborhood, and it's just going to take a break or a strong performance. The fact that you went out and tested, to me, tells me a lot. And I wouldn't be surprised if you won one or more of the races on the swing. And Seattle was a place that was friendly to you, and the Pomona has taken that spot. So who knows what is going to happen? All right. UKev is out there from the UK. He wants to know, when are we getting Bandero tequila in the UK? He is headed to France right now. But what about the Bandero deal? Because that's a personal project for you. And that made it more interesting for me. It's like, whoa, wait a second. This is not just some company. This is a personal endeavor. Do people know that? What's the story?
So Bandero Tequila is a small batch premium tequila out of Jalisco, Mexico. And it is a business that myself, my sister, and a couple business associates of my father's that I've known for a while, we started this company. And it's in California right now. It's coming out this way. It's just taking a while to get the distribution handled. There's so many, liquor companies out there. So, bringing in a new one, is kind of tough. People love what they love, and they're, they're used to having certain brands. So when a new one comes in, it's like, okay, what do you have that's so different and so amazing? But in all honesty, I've done some blind tests with my friends with Patron and Bandero, and people choose the Bandero. So, and it's winning awards and it's doing really well. So we're excited. My sister and I are very excited about it.
Well, so here's how I choose it. Obviously, I have to be able to enjoy it. That's number one. But there's multiple things that I enjoy across the board. Which ones are supporting drag racing? Which ones are supporting people that I know and care about or directly related? Like, that's how I think most drag racing fans have been trained over the years to think about products. And so when it is available, I have no doubt that our drag racing community, at very least, is going to adopt it. And I thought what was cool out there at New England was that was part of the trophy process, right? Everybody got a bottle. They were super excited. Yes. I had to calm them down. Otherwise, we would have been doing shots in the winner's circle. and me.
I was hoping someone would share some with me because I didn't even have any.
No way.
We didn't have any. They sent the boxes to the shop, and of course we were on the East Coast, so we were keeping the trucks on the East Coast at our friend's house in Auburn, and so we couldn't get to them. And then we found out that Bandera, they were sending cases to all the teams that win. And so I was hoping, obviously, that we would win, or if I knew somebody that won, I could grab one from them.
Right. Well, I wish I had known. We could have put you together with all the Lucas Oil Series racers. I think Santangelo would have been down to share. They would have been all down to share.
That would have been fun. I would have loved to do that. Yeah.
Well, that opportunity is coming, though. And isn't that just the way it is, that nothing happens as fast as we want it to happen?
No, definitely not. Yeah. I wanted to win right off the bat this year. I was like, okay, we're going hard. We got a great car. It's consistent. It's fast. Let's win one of these first races. But it takes time. I'm a very patient person. I know how to win. I've won before. My team has. Not all of us together in this way, but all of us separately have won, races. So it's not new to us. It's just about getting back on that, on that mode and just getting it done. So
the challenges of coming back, though, being away and then coming back, making the decision, I want to be back, I want to come back, getting in the car, and now you got to do it again. I think about that part as being amazing, like fighting the courage to get in the car and do it. And then people are trying to beat you. What was the hardest part of that?
Probably the hardest part, just getting used to the speeds again, which the first couple were just like, wow, yeah, it is fast. I remember this. Everything else was pretty good. We had a new chassis made and I was kind of, having issues keeping that straight. I had to make some adjustments to the steering wheel and certain things that, you just adapt. You just have to adapt. And when you're so used to something being this way over and over again, you change one tiny little thing and it's like, whoa, it's a big deal for us. I know it sounds ridiculous. But yeah, so that was something. But other than that, packing my parachutes, going through the motions, everything was really good. Sorry, hold on one second.
No, that's fine. Let's say the
go
AT&T
for
guy
it. Thank you.
is now asking, does he know that you go 330 miles per hour for a living? Or is
no, I don't think so. I have my trophies up on the wall, but I don't think he knows.
That's no. And right now, that guy's the most important guy in the world. We all know we need our internet.
Important, yes. Oh my gosh, especially for my teenager, it's like the end of the world when she can't watch Netflix and stuff at home after work. She's like, "Oh my God, Mom, what are we gonna do? You have to come home right now." I was like, "I'm busy." No, you have to come home now. It's funny, but
have that internet, man. No
yeah.
Gotta have it. How are they going to get the WFO without the internet?
Exactly.
Speaking of that, the social media stuff has been great. It's great to have you back out there and be involved.
Thank you.
I couldn't help but notice that Toyota put out a video, and it's great that they're including you guys. You know what I'm about to ask you about.
I do. Right? So let me clarify things though. The post said, "What's your favorite karaoke song to sing?" So I didn't have one. So they asked me what my go-to impression would be. If I had a song, an impression of somebody. So that was that. I don't do karaoke, so I didn't have a song. So I picked my impression. I can sound like Cher. I don't know why.
Okay.
But so I sang it for them, and then they put it on there, and I was horrified, and it's funny, but no. I don't want to sing again.
I'm not going to make you sing.
Okay, good.
I'm not going to make you sing. Not here.
Okay,
maybe if I'm desperate, though, at some point at an event and I need a moment, you got to deliver, please.
If we open up a bottle of Bandero and have some shots, I might do it.
Okay. But you know what's funny?
I might
In
might break share out.
The perfect situation, right? And it's funny that you tell us that, because I was doing my Ignition show and we're promoting you were on, and I talked about the karaoke deal, and I was just kind of surprised about like all these people are doing karaoke. Like I didn't know. Like I just don't see it. Not that I haven't done karaoke for 20 years. Like, is that, I know it's a thing, but, and then when you bust out the share, I was like, well, that's a damn good share. That's what's happening. My God, you nailed it. But now we know the real story.
Yeah, it wasn't a karaoke song. It was like my go-to impression, like something funny and good. But yeah, so
hidden talent right there. You can do share if need be. We'll put that in our back pocket. Alexis, thank you very much. Any other anything that you want to say to the people out there while you got the attention of WFO, getting ready for the Western Swing? What a year. Your fans, I want to have you back as a winner.
Yes, that'd
really
be great.
Feel like, but I didn't want to wait for that. I wanted to have this pre-conversation so we can reference it once it happens. But what would you have to say to everybody out there while you got their ear?
Well, I just want to let everyone know, thank you very much for tuning in. Joe Castello is like the best. I love being on his show. I'm so glad I'm here. And even before a win. So thank you for being impatient, Joe. But here's the deal. So we have just started doing our merchandise. I know a lot of people were asking about it, and it's just taken a minute, but we're starting. We have hats now, t-shirts. We're going to have sweatshirts, jackets. Everything's going to be coming out just a little bit slower. We'll have them on my website. Go to alexisdejoria.com and you'll have a link that goes to the Fatheads website, who's handling all of our merchandise. They're at all the races. The Fatheads Sunglass Trailer. They sell our t-shirts and our hats, and just look out for that. And there's more coming. So everybody's good.
Excellent.
I didn't forget about y'all. It's all good. So
the gear. They want the gear. All right. Kev's bringing up something negative. It broke right before the show. I don't know if you know already, but maybe you don't, or maybe you do. That the 2022 race at Houston will be the last race at Houston.
Okay.
That news is out. We've all been like hearing contract, how long, we don't know. Now it is official on NHRA.com that next year's Houston Spring Nationals will be the final at Houston Raceway Park, powered by Pennzoil in Houston. Right, Baytown.
Well, I have something, first of all, I'll address that, but I have some positive that can possibly come out of that. So yes, we've been hearing about Houston going away for a long time. The concrete plant next door wants to get rid of it or whatever. They bought it. I don't know. It's been happening for a long time. It's sad. I hate to see any racetrack go away ever. But again, I've heard it before. We heard that about Topeka, and we're still racing Topeka. So you never really know. But if it does happen, if that is really the true fact, that opens up COTA, Circuit of Americas, to build a drag strip. And I was told by the higher ups at COTA that the only way they would do that is if one of the Texas races went away for good, because it's very political. They already, people are, going back and forth about attendance, and, you don't want to schedule it too close to this race or that, but that will definitely open it up for COTA to build a racetrack, a drag strip. And that would be absolutely incredible to have the two fastest motorsports in the world at the same track, F1 and Nitro. So cool. So
you turned my emotions around like on a dime right there.
As a drag racer. Oh no, but then
no
gets
joke.
Better, maybe.
It gets okay. So no disrespect to any facility out there, but COTA is it's the Bandero premium tequila of racetracks.
Thank you.
It's what we need if we're going to court these next level sponsors. They want to have places where they can go, different vantage points, different viewing points. And that track is so great. So not that I've been there just yet, but I know you have.
It's incredible. I've been there for MotoGP, F1, NASCAR I missed because we were racing at the same time, I believe. But it's just a great facility. I've seen concerts there. They have venues, tons of venues, so many great things. And it's a huge property. and they have done the research. You know, they talked to the heads of NHRA, and they looked at all the tracks, and they were measuring, and they were looking at, you know, and that's how I found out actually that Pomona is the shortest shutdown from the finish line to the sand trap. That is the shortest shutdown on the circuit.
Yes.
And it's downhill. So I always thought that that Englishtown was the shortest, but it's not. It's Pomona. So that's a place you definitely want to be on point with your parachutes. You want to have a hand off, you know, depending on if you have your parachute button on your wheel. I'm kind of old school, so I keep my lever over here. I have a button on the wheel. I have a you know what button on the wheel, but I also have my lever over here. So when as I'm coming up on the finish line, I'm pulling my parachutes to make sure I stop in time. But they did all the research, and so they're ready to pull the trigger. But that was it. It was just like there's already too many drag races in Texas, and you know, one would have to go away. So hopefully they're still on board with that. I will definitely push it on my end. My father has a portion of that track, and he has, you know, donated a considerable amount of money to help them when they were going under. So I feel like we could have some pull there, hopefully.
Well, let's hope.
I think it could be really good. So,
well, I do too. Thank you for sharing that. You didn't have to. I appreciate that, because it's a heavy heart moment. Like, oh my gosh, what's happening with this sport? But I really believe drag racing will find a way, and it will. And it will. There's too much. We got too much history. 70 years down the road, we got too much history. We got too much riding on this, and that is something that I think would be very positive.
Yes.
And I haven't been to Austin yet, but that would lock it in for me. And then
I'd have a real home track. I mean, my God, it's only like 25-30 minutes from here. So that'd be awesome.
Alexis, thank you for your time. Yeah, it would be awesome. You sleep in your own bed with your Wi-Fi and your new updated internet access.
Yes.
Guy who is right there. Thank you very much for coming on WFO Radio. I hope to be speaking with you in the next few weeks. Thanks for the info and the insight into your team. I appreciate it. And let's keep on trucking. I'll see you out there in Denver in a few days.
Excellent. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Alexis.
Thanks for tuning in.
All right. There she goes. Alexis DeJoria with us here on WFO Radio. How great was that? Talk about a wild U-turn of emotion. Kev brings up Houston, and then she drops that bit of knowledge on us. And what can you say? Always been a big fan of Alexis. She's a fan favorite. She reaches and extends beyond the normal drag race sphere, if you will, and moves the needle for so many people. And so I appreciate her, and I appreciate she coming on the show in advance. And yes, happy birthday, Nikki Bonafonte, of course. And Dell did a great thing a couple of weeks ago in New England, taking us through their entire pit and showing us, like, this is James is doing this is what we're doing, this is what's happening, etc., and so on. All right, get some comments in the comments section, your thoughts on Alexis and what she has to say. But while we queue those up, we're going to keep it in a Texas state of mind. Join us now. I don't know if he's at the Texas Motorplex, but he definitely is running the show out there. Mr. Andy Carter going to tell us about the, is it terrible that I want to say, the stampede of speed? Woo!
No, that was exactly right. That's what we all want to call it. And get excited. We're really pumped about what we're doing here this fall. We've had the opportunity to expand this event into a 9-day, I want to call it a circus, but a stampede. So, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have racing every day. I think we've got 5 different races, 8 different concerts, parties every night, something going on the track, off the track. So we're really excited for you guys to get here.
Yes. And so let's, last year I wasn't there, but I watched and I knew what was going on. And we're coming out of the pandemic, and it's fits and starts, and people are concerned about, health and safety. And you guys did well. Like, in that situation, what was the genesis of trying? Let's explain to our NHRA themed listeners. You are extending the event beforehand, like you're adding days of the event to the beginning, at least last year. So tell us a little bit about that schedule to just create this. Would you say 9 days? Like many, many days of drag racing action at the Texas Motorplex of all kinds, concerts and themes. They like to make it the center of the universe down there.
Right. We're gonna open our campground up early, so hopefully we get folks to come in and fill up their hotels in our community, and this is a big deal for us to try and help boost the economy of our area, trying to work with businesses, get them involved, and give it more of that, almost that county state fair kind of feel in the area. We kick off Saturday night of it, which is October 2nd, with an event we've had here for years. It's called the Night Lights, which it's not necessarily a group of drag racing fans that come out for it. They come out and cook s'mores over their campfire, and they light balloon or these paper lanterns off, and they go up, and it's really cool to witness and see. But we're going to do a lot of promotion to those folks. We got 10 or 15,000 of them here that aren't necessarily drag racing fans, so we'll have a jumbotron, showing some racing, some footage of that. Scott Palmer will have an array of race cars here, and we'll have full staff on to, talk to these people, hopefully convince them to buy tickets and come back later in the week and build some new fans. Then we go to Sunday. We're going to have a 5K in the morning, barbecue cook-off, car show, a country music festival going on, again, in an effort to draw in some new fans, to introduce them to what we do. We'll, have our promotion going with the cars and jumbotron and stuff like that again. Monday night, we're going to have the Scott Palmer sideshow. Everything will be on the track will be burning nitro, including his pro mods.
Oh, really?
I'm still not sure if they're NHRA legal yet or not, but I know there's some work on that going on. But we'll have a band. It'll be one of those events that we'll let everybody come down around the starting line. Obviously, we'll have barricades up to keep them in a safe place, but more of a front row seat, some music going on, and running some crazy stuff. And how crazy Scott Palmer can be in his stuff. Lots of long smoky burnouts and dry hops, and that dude doesn't care. He's just a showman, on the track. Sorry, let me turn that off.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Are you kidding? With Alexis, we had her AT&T guy showed up, and when she took us on a tour of the house, you're getting a phone call, Andy. No big deal. We can roll with it. What if it's Billy? Maybe you should answer.
It's not. Billy's busy playing with airplanes today, but then we're going to go to Wednesday. We're going to finish up Houston. Tuesday. We're going to finish up Houston Tuesday morning. We're going to run a pro mod, a top sportsman, top dragster shootout that night. With a lot of excitement and pyro and different kind of things. And then Wednesday, one of the coolest things Josh Peterson approved for us. We're going to actually let all the professional teams test on the track on Wednesday. Top Fuel, Funny Car, alcohol teams, Pro Stock Bike, all those guys are going to get a shot at the track on Wednesday. So that's something that's never been done before. It'll be a first. Be a lot of excitement, and I think a lot of the teams have already, the word's kind of gotten out, and they're really excited about being able to do that the week of a race instead of the week after. But and then we kind of go into our normal, NHRA national event coming Thursday with start off with the sportsman and working our way through all the categories to Sunday. But lots of stuff. We've got fireworks every night, concerts either in the pits or campground every night. Just a lot of activities. I'm actually working on booking a carnival in here. They'll be back out in the background of the campground. Just so we can work to try and attract new people to the event, make it a bigger event for us and our community.
Oh, I love it. Andy, I love this. I'm enjoying this conversation. Marvin Rodak from RodaksCoffeeandGrills.com is out there. He's in Fort Worth. He says, thanks, Andy, for all you do. Sammy Eubanks out there saying thank you for all you do. I appreciate that you guys are, and Billy's always been an innovator with the track in general, right? The whole concept, but that we have to go outside of people who already like drag racing. And if you can siphon off 2 out of 100, you're growing. And I think we can siphon off more than that. And you guys are working to that end by bringing other people in. A 5K run, those are very popular. Hey, you want to see somebody run 330 miles per hour? They might. And that's our challenge. It's always been our biggest challenge.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest deals. Most of the promotional events that we have going on are targeted to, folks outside of our sport. Of course, our normal fans that want to come and camp out that week, it'll be fun for them too, and get to see a lot of cool and fun stuff. But, I think for too many years we've kind of been preaching to the choir and just going after our normal fan base. And hopefully this, get some new people in our area involved.
Definitely. No, I really like the idea that we're reaching out, we're reaching beyond drag racing. Let's talk a little bit about the Plex. I don't know all of this or any of this for certain, but I know that Texas went through that big deep freeze problem a couple of months ago. And I want to know, are there improvements? Are there things that we're going to see come up for the Stampede of Speed and the AAA Texas Fall Nationals that are new? The tower, the amenities, all of that stuff. I had heard some rumors. I should have cleared this with you in advance, but I had heard that you're actually, making some things better, nicer.
We are working on it. We've been working on putting together, and we've actually got to put together kind of a 5-year plan of improvements and a lot of stuff that we want to do here. One includes a big RV theme park kind of a situation. I'm going to repave all of the pits. That's something we've needed to do for years. The storm that came through Texas kind of rearranged our plan. The plan was to renovate the tower and some other stuff. Mother Nature decided that's where we would start. So we've got about a $3 million renovation going on right now. The things the fans will see, which not all of them get to come to the tower, but we're doing a lot of upgrades in our Champions Club. Obviously, the tower, the suites, race control, all of that's was completely gutted. It's going back together now. At one point we were down to just concrete and metal in that building. We're working on remodeling all of our outdoor bathrooms for the fans, the media center. You guys, when you get here, you're going to love it. Media center will be as high tech as anything you've ever been to, a NASCAR, any car race, or anything else. It's going to be really nice for you guys in the media to be able to work out of that, and we'll just keep going. Those are the projects that we felt like we could get done by October for the race, and then once we get through that, we got a couple other things going on here, but we're going to start construction on some of the other projects that are in our 5-year plan. So
excited.
We're pretty excited.
Well, and rightfully so, Andy. And you're like I am in the middle of our lives, and we've been around racing and this kind of thing for a long time. And so what's going to happen, right? Are we just going to ride on the investments of the 1980s, or are we going to keep this thing going? And to hear what you just said, it heartens me to know that, no, man, things have got to evolve, and you've got to advance and rebuild. And I know that the state is involved, and I'm going to flash a picture on the screen. I'm not sure if you were there for this. I kind of remember that you guys were a part of it, maybe even the genesis. But yeah. Steve and Bobby and Gary, Mama Kay, and Nat there, right there, along with your governor down there in Texas, right? I think that was part of it. Steve told us, it's about tourism. It's about bringing money to Texas. It's about making the race fan that's in, Ohio or Illinois or wherever say, man, I want to fly to a track. Where should I go? Which track should I go to? And you want it to be the Texas Motorplex.
Yeah, and that was that photo was from the Bill signing that we did, and it's kind of a cool deal. the state of Texas has it's a program that was set up for events like the Olympics, Super Bowl, the big race in Austin with the not Indy cars, but that group down there, Final Four, that kind of stuff, and it's kind of like a partnership. You put on an event and draw people from out of state, and the state partners with you. You get a percentage of the hotel, motel taxes, rental cars, flights, stuff like that they collect taxes off of. So, they're and it's a pretty in-depth thing to, we have to prove that the people came in and, how much money they spent and where they stayed and all that kind of stuff. So it's not an easy deal for us, but, it's cool that the state of Texas looks at it and says, hey, we can partner with some of these events to help our state, bring in more revenue. And we're proud to be part of it. That was probably the coolest, PR thing that I've ever been involved with. You pull a top fuel dragster up to the governor's mansion, and he was sitting there and kept looking at it, and he looked at Steve and I, and he's they're waiting to sign the bill, and this is going to be like a 10-15 minute deal, and he wants to get in the car. And Steve looked at me, and I was like, how do we get you in here? And he got his security detail and put him in, and he actually signed the bill while he was in the car. And an hour later, we're ready to fire the car up, and ask if he wanted to get out. And he's like, no, I want to stay in here if I can. So Steve guys, Catco boys, they fired that thing up right there in front of the governor's mansion, and which we had a big crowd, but that drew a really big crowd really fast. So it was really cool.
You know what? I actually have the video. Let's take a second to watch the video, Andy, and let everybody, if you missed it on WFO, we had Steve talk about it. Now Andy Carter from Texas Motorplex was there, and it's just a great visual. Had Bobby Lagana on yesterday. Didn't really talk to him about it, but let's take a few seconds to watch. Great is that?
It still gives me the chills. That's the coolest thing, like I said, I've ever done. I don't know many other people that can say, I don't know any other people can say they actually fired a top fuel car up in the state capitol, much less at their governor's mansion. So really cool, fun thing.
It's great for drag racing, and that's it. We're all in the business of drag racing, and there's all things to balance, of course, in government, but we want to be in there and part of it. Where can people get tickets? Like if people are making their travel plans for the fall right now, and I think that's actually pretty smart to make your plans now. What's how does the ticketing work with the NHRA event, the Stampede of Speed? Can you just buy like one ticket and go to everything if you want to spend the whole time down there?
You can. Well, the tickets go on sale next Tuesday. Obviously, the tickets for the regular Fall National event are on sale and been on sale, but next Tuesday, you can go to TexasMotorplex.com. We're going to have a package, so you can buy that package just for those extra 3 days. The concert will come later once we know the headliner for the concert, and we should know that by hopefully the end of the week. We got several people we're working on, but. And you'll also be able to buy a package for the full week, your national tickets along with us. And it's going to be like $20 a day. Anybody can afford to come in for any of those days and hang out. You buy that, like I say, you get a credential that gets you to everything, for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, to be part of, all this really cool racing that we have. And for us, it's really a historical thing. It's like, when we talked with NHRA, and Josh Peterson as well as anybody, and I ran through this thing we were talking about, and he's sitting in his chair, his arms crossed, and hasn't said anything. And I finally was like, Josh, you're not saying anything. Exactly. There you go. And I said, Josh, I'm not saying anything. And he goes, no, man, I think this is a really cool idea. It's never been done before. So I'm excited that, NHRA is excited about it. We are. We're hiring some new staff to come in to help us with it because it's a bigger undertaking than we've ever dealt with here at the track. But we hope that, it's really got that cool feel. We're going to have we're putting together a big trade show. It'll be indoors, air conditioned, not nearly as big as like a PRI, but something that has kind of that feel. We'll have, a couple hundred vendors in that can come in and sell whatever, from parts to, whatever they've got, and, make that part of it. And hopefully, some of this stuff we outgrow the facility here, and, it moves over to Waxahachie to their convention center in coming years or something like that. But, we want to make it, a major, like the Super Bowl, something going on every restaurant, every bar, all over town. So
love it. No, I love it, Andy, and I appreciate it and appreciate what you do and taking the responsibility. People are, like, yeah, that's a great idea. You just listed like thousands of hours of work and stress for a lot of people out there. But before we let you
go, on top of this construction we got going over here, and my hair is getting grayer, and I'm getting older and fatter as it goes. So
there it is. All right, but I notice over your right-hand shoulder, you've got some drag racing collectibles there. A nice little section set up. And, our viewers out there, they scan. I've learned this a long time ago. They're scanning, like, what's back there. What of those collectible die-cast drag cars is your favorite? Please show us.
Well, all of the, I don't know if you can see them from here. I mean, my fan, but all the old U.S. tobacco cars, I kind of, and not many people know this, I worked for U.S. Tobacco back in the days of Dom for Dom from the sponsorship side. And actually, I came to work for them the year he started racing for them, and I left whenever he left. So I had some background in the drag racing from that side of things way back in the time. So I've tried to collect, every one of the Dom for Dom cars that I can come up with. And the other ones are just, things that kind of mark cool things in history, like the Winston cars and stuff like that. So
awesome. No, it's great that you got your own collection that's meaningful to you, and I certainly appreciate it. Andy, thank you for spending time with us on WFO Radio Podcast. Really appreciate the insight. This has been a nice little afternoon with Alexis and yourself down there in the state of Texas. I can't wait to get back to the Plex and see all the updates and changes, and you guys have created the whole Nitro Circus chaos atmosphere, and I think that's what our fans like and want to see. And whether our NHRA fans get there a day early to go see your stuff, or the fans around there extend what they're doing to see the NHRA stuff, I think it's a great plan, and I love what you're doing. The test, especially, that'll make the event better, because Q1 on Friday, they will have just tested there, so we can actually step on the pedal as opposed to figuring out what's what.
Yeah, and that's how we think that's going to be a really big day for us. We hope so, fan wise, and like I said, for $20, you'll be able to come in, and not many people. We have all our tracks call it Monday Nationals, where a lot of teams stay and test, and the fans they had to go home, go to work, and they miss out on it. But being here when those guys are up testing and trying new stuff is a totally different experience, and it's really, really cool to be part of. And we've seen some runs here in testing that would be any track records in the country, and it's just Nate was doing testing, nobody saw it, So
right, exactly. Cars are $10,000 to go down the racetrack. Someone should enjoy it when it happens. Hey, Earl is out there, and he's mentioning a band name. You didn't reference any band names. If there's a negotiation going on, I don't want to get in the middle of that. But he put one up in the comment section. Does he know something that I don't know about?
Well, he probably knows that I reached out to ZZ Top. ZZ Top was not available for that weekend. So we're going a little different route. I mean, when I say we're going big, yeah, we reached out to some guys like Kid Rock and some guys like that just couldn't be here, and some of this got late in planning. So we're, a lot of those guys are booked up, and with COVID, rules lifting, they're back to work, and so and that's the other thing, we're already working on booking some of these guys for next year, because it's
get ahead.
Like some of this we were behind the ball, but we're still going to make it the best we can and have fun, and the entertainment will be, out of this world.
Well, I like where your head's at as far as ZZ Top. I've been thinking about them for a while. Like, okay, they're still like big and relevant and cool, and they get us and we get them, and it's like it's one of those.
Yeah, they're cars, they're hot rodders, they fit hand in hand. But maybe for 2023 we can get them here.
There you go. And Earl says, should have called me Big Street Rodders, like he's got an in or something, Earl. Reach out to me, Earl. I'll put you with Andy. We'll make it happen. Yeah. Andy, any final thought for the WFO universe out there?
Dude, y'all just come. Plan on being here all 9 days. Have a blast. Everything's bigger in Texas, and we're fixing to prove it. So y'all come on.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Andy. Thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate you.
You bet. Thank you.
Say hi to Billy.
You bet.
There he goes. Andy Carter from the Texas Motorplex with us here on WFO Radio. And I encourage you to share this show because we got a lot of information, right? Not only is it entertainment with Bobby Lagana and Alex Laughlin and Alan Reinhardt and Brett Kepner and everything extending into last week on WFO, but now with Alexis and Andy, we got a lot of information coming out of the state of Texas. So yeah, let's put some comments in the comment section right there. Get it on up there, and we'll be ready. Like number one, the refurbished tower at the Texas Motorplex. That's very exciting. I am, infrastructure is being talked about all the time right now, and it's mandatory. It's like whatever it is that exists, it can only exist as it is for so long. And either people will A, become bored of it, or B, it will no longer be as useful as it once was, or C. And yeah, it definitely costs money to do it, but you got to do it. You got to find a way. And so they're refurbishing the tower at the Texas Motorplex. He said they're going to repave the pits. They're going to do a bunch of stuff with all this multi-faceted entertainment complex concept involved. Like that's what we need. And what Alexis made the lemonade out of the lemons we got from the story on the front page of NHRA.com. First of all, Seth Angel has been very helpful to WFO. Was an early on sponsor with his daily drag racing fantasy thing that he did a while ago. That race day score jumped on, supported us for a while, and we were pushing that product for a while, and it was good, and ultimately he shut it down. But I love Houston Raceway Park. Like I like that facility, and it's in the middle of nowhere. It's a commerce section, right? So they're not building houses on it. But when that plant next door took it over, and this year I was looking at it, I was like, man, I'm driving by this thing. It's been 10 minutes, and I'm still driving by it. It's a long, huge, massive building. I wondered, like, is this going to be here forever now, or is this going to be here a short amount of time because of all this commerce that's happening in this area? And we got the news today that the 2022 Spring Nationals at Houston Raceway Park, powered by Pennzoil, and appreciate them until the very last day of it. The last one will be in 2022. So that is a big bummer, right? A big downer. And then Alexis obviously is just throwing it out into ether on WFO. Hopefully everyone will share this. And we'll pull that clip immediately and put it out there. But that should hearten drag racing fans that there's something possible. And I can tell you that the stories that have already come out about the National Hot Rod Association selling Atlanta and the things that they have decided to do, putting a building up on the market, they have in those stories, and I don't say this from personal knowledge beyond what we all can read, that they're going to use some of that money to upgrade facilities as well. And I've been saying it for years. Here's a personal soapbox moment. Do you want to increase the people who come to your event, whatever your event is? The answer is yes. Well, we're not the first people in drag racing to have that desire or challenge. Like everyone across the board has been in that situation, from the NFL to Major League Baseball to the NHL to the NBA. Everybody, you've got to upgrade your facilities, and your facilities have to be something either A, on par and with comfort level of the things people are used to, the seating, the space, the chairs, the chair backs, the restrooms, which is my personal thing that I how do you want to increase your fan base? Have better restrooms. And people are like, what does that matter? And it's like, well, because our sport is, 85% male driven. I don't know the exact demographic, but I can see when I post something on Facebook, the people who are watching WFO are like 85, 87%, 90% male, right? And I get it. But every one of those guys has got a girlfriend or a wife or a daughter. And are those girlfriends, wives, and daughters going to feel comfortable going into the restrooms at the facility? Like, that should be the first question. Are they going to feel comfortable? Are they going to have a good time? It's not that they don't like drag racing. It's not that women don't like drag racing. Women love drag racing. Are they going to be feeling good about the stuff that has to happen when you spend 8 hours somewhere? And the answer is probably no. You go, I'm not mentioning any specific track. I'm kind of formulating an opinion from 40 years of drag racing experience when there's a huge long line at the lady. That's why my mom stopped going to the Gator Nationals back in the 1980s. That's the reason she stopped. It was just, the long line at the restroom, and you step in there and there's a half inch of water and it's not clean and it feels like something out of the 1970s. And before we've advanced beyond that. And every facility should be thinking about that. Do we have wonderful and clean, beautiful bathrooms with enough space and enough places that the line won't become too long? Do we have enough vendors with awesome food that people are going to remember? Man, I had a great meal and I didn't get ripped off. All of these things. Now, by the way, regular mainstream sports, there's a lot of ripping off going on over there. But when there's marble countertops and stuff, people seem to be more into it. I don't know. Now, air conditioning, that's one. Like, how do we get that out there? And something covered. Like, is there a bleacher, a grandstand, something in drag racing that's covered? Like, where people can be out of the heat? Like, why can't we do that with some of that, those vinyl things that they're putting up in certain areas? You see it at the Formula One tracks all over. Well, drag racers don't care about that. No, they do. They do. And as our fans get a little older, being out there and baking in the sun, like, there should be an option somewhere, somehow, to be covered. And we got to think about that. Got to be creative. And I'm so good at spending other people's money. I'm so good. Yeah, let's cover a portion of the grandstands. And you look back at the old school stuff in Gainesville Raceway, they've got a rendering of the track before it was new. And what did it have? It had like just a little cantilever cover to provide a little bit of shade at the toughest time of the day. Like, it's not impossible. I think we've been stuck in a construct for the past 20 years that, you can't spend a dime. Don't spend, not just in drag racing. I mean, in the world, you can't spend a dime to make things better because that'll hurt the bottom line. Well, and at some point, the bottom line got hurt anyway. All right, let's see what everybody has to say while I tell you about my bottom line and the people who have been super helpful to WFO radio over this year. Total Seal Piston Rings. Had a chat with Hartford yesterday. He's bummed he's not going out to Denver, but they'll see everybody in Sonoma. TotalSeal.com. If you're building a bracket engine or a stock eliminator engine, find out about their gas-ported rings. You're not allowed to gas-port your pistons in certain categories, but the rings, high-level technology, good stuff. And Marvin Rodak. Marvin, the Texas Motorplex is his home facility, and he is out there, and he's been a vendor out there, had him at the Fan Fest out there, and it was just really great. That's where we did our Rodak's takeover. We went down to the Rodak's shop and we had a great party, a big event. Terry McMillan and Jim were there. We had just so many people down there. It was amazing. And Marvin doing a great job. If you want to taste what everybody's talking about, give him a call. Like, do it right now. Write it down. Get a pen. I'm serious. Get a pen right now. Write this down. Jot this down. Write down this number. Give him a call. 817-924-6821. Ask him about the different coffee he has to offer, including the WFO Radio Blend and the Habanero Endorphin Booster Hot Sauce in specific, plus the 826 Spice Rub. This is his innovation. It's a coffee rub for steaks and anything you might want to grill. And he sells all of that. And I call it the, it's like a package deal. You get the coffee, you get the hot sauce, you get the spice rub. He sends it out, and then you have the Rodax experience. Try it out, report back. And I haven't gotten any feedback. The only feedback I got about Rodax is like, oh, it's a little pricier than when I get in the grocery store. And yeah, that is true. There's no doubt about that. But I also think it is better. And Samtech, it's like, no doubt it's better. Samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Blockhead CNC programs. Like, who's this for? If you're like less than 40 and you're getting ready to, you want a career, but doing something that you love and you care about, but you want to have a great education while doing it, and maybe get hooked up with a job with one of the connections that they have in the racing industry, as so many have prior to you. Samtech.edu. It's a school. It's great stuff. So thanks to our sponsors. Nitro Fish, get your WFO t-shirt in the Nitro Fish trailer. And hopefully they have reloaded or will reload on the 2X. And that's the deal. We're talking about getting a new shirt made. I don't know, man, the 10th anniversary shirt. Are like, we done with that? Let's sell them out. Let's do it. And in the WFO store right now, you can get a WFO hat. You can get face coverings. There are crew shirts. Yeah, it could be a little better, well done. Could be a little more well done, as in the website part of it. That's on me, guys. That's on me. I spend too much time doing these shows. All right, let's see what everybody has to say. Let's see what everybody has to say about what we learned on this show. And before I do that, I want to mention the Patreons, and I'm going to drop the Patreon link into the comment section right now, because people are asking me about what's the Patreon, and we can't tell from that artwork you're displaying. We need it to be better and more. I'm kidding, Steve. And what is the Patreon? It's a VIP listener club. It's a whole nother feed with different audio that is totally unique to the people that want to be a member of our Patreon situation. All right, let's see what everybody has to say. Like this guy, Jim Hughes. Men and women as well want cleaner restrooms. Yes, some of the people need shade. Experienced that thing at BIR when my partner attended a race over the holiday. There's so many people that talk about what's impossible. We can't do that. We just can't do that because, yes, well, but what can we do? What is possible? For them to build at certain tracks, certain facilities, a covered grandstand that is a premium grandstand that has, judge, where's the sun going to be? Where's the burning heat going to be? I don't think that's impossible. She needed to get some shade during that event. She stood in a shadow of the large, what is that? BIR to Napa sign adjacent to the starting line. Oh, I know where that is. And has been going to races since 68 season. So there it is. Well, yes, as our fans who love us get older, their tolerance for the elements is less. It's as simple as that. So do you respect your elders? Do you respect our old fans? Do you respect those people? Do you want them to continue to come? We have to figure out how to make it friendly for them. And again, I'm not talking about any specific facility. I'm talking about all facilities. This is mandatory. Wheelchair accessible for those little scooters that they're driving around that are such a great innovation, right? That people who are not able to do it can now continue to do it. The baking in the heat, like we've got to think about all of those things. You've got to. It's mandatory if you want to continue in the business. We're at a whole inflection point. See what Dragster Jeff has to say. How about solar panels? Just shared the Bing customers in the grandstands. We could race all summer long with the lights on. Solar panels over the grandstands. This is not a new idea, Dragster Jeff. I have been having conversations with people. Look, we're going into what is a drag racing facility, right? It's a big open space. And yeah, there's possibilities for not only for solar panels and selling that electricity back to the local community, but powering pit areas. Like all of that can happen. It just takes money and initial capital. And there's a lot of capital out there that is available. And there's going to be, government capital, like what Andy was talking about and Steve told us about with Texas and other states and maybe nationally. If they can all get together on that deal, and rightfully so. We never talk politics on WFO. Never. This is not politics. We talk patriotism. We talk the well-being of our country and all of that stuff. And that's part of it, man. That's part of it. Restrooms like Norwalk. This guy likes Norwalk's restrooms. I got to say, I've only been into the media center. I do usually make a point to pop into a restroom at a normal. You know what? I did go to the restroom in Norwalk. They were fine. They were nice. You got to up level everything, whatever it is. You, Kev. Hi, Joe. You got to get someone to do a fire burnout at the Texas Motorplex if they're allowed. We only have 1 quarter-mile track in the UK, and an 1/8 mile track is crowdfunding to make it a 1/4 mile. And you, Kev, who is one of our Patreons, sent a picture. He put it up in a video in our WFO group, and it's of this wild and insane fire burnout. I remember seeing fire burnouts at Miami Hollywood Speedway. And I remember, and I think there's a Garlett's poster that is historic of a fire burnout. Here's where I come down on it. I don't know, Kev. Feels kind of unsafe in the modern world. Back then, yeah, fire burnouts were pretty amazing and spectacular, but it was also in a time where nobody really thought or cared about their personal safety nearly as much as they do now. But I'll endorse it. Sure. As long as we can make sure the people involved are safe, I'd love to see a fire burnout in person somewhere. Is it an NHRA accessible thing? I don't know. I don't think they're sanctioned. There are some things that have just been what we'll do. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to put some gasoline down and we're going to do a burnout in it. I don't know. But hey, I don't want to be the guy who put the brakes on the fire burnout idea for you, Kev. You English folk, you're out there. Boy, is England the center of the universe sporting wise? We got the British Grand Prix this weekend. They got golf over there. They had Wimbledon. They've got soccer. They got everything's going on in the UK right now, including anarchy. See what Lonnie has to say. I was at Houston Raceway Park in 1988 when they ran the first 4-second run. Eddie Hill does a 4:93 in the final. Epic. No, I don't. Good news, bad news, right? It's negative. It's a negative story. I hope what Alexis just mentioned is possible and can put her thumb on the scale and make that happen. Great set of interviews today. Always love the show. Guys, share the show. That's really how you can help WFO, either our YouTube channel or on Twitter or retweet. We see how many times each show is getting shared, right? Share the show with your friends. Let's bring them in. Let's loop them into the WFO universe. And yes, I benefit, but so does the sport. Of course, Pro Stock isn't being run in Denver this year. Alan Johnson isn't there to win it again. Sheesh. Yeah. You spelled Alan the wrong, Lonnie. It's a different kind of Alan. Should have called me Big Street Rodders. Yeah, we know. Earl. So what, Earl? You got a direct connection to the guys at ZZ Top? Is that what you're saying? All right, guys, we're headed out on the Western Swing. That's right. Denver, Sonoma, Pomona. 3 weeks in a row, 3 races in a row. How will we get the winners on WFO? I have no clue, but we're going to do our best. If you're going to be out in Denver, be sure to shout out WFO. Pull me over. I'll say hello. We're going to have ourselves a good time. It is going to be great. And I want to thank you for spending time with us here on WFO Radio. And to Bobby Lagana and Alex Laughlin and Alan Reinhart and Andy Carter and Alexis DeJoria and Elon, who helped me set it all up. And Alexis and Andy, of course. And even last week, the Brett Kepner stuff. If you aren't checking the WFO archive, you should know. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, wherever you get your podcasts, really. I'm checking all these podcast indexes. WFO is pretty much everywhere that is a free podcast index. But we also have our own WFO mobile application. Do you know that? Where you can watch the videos and you watch the audio. And the website, WFOradio.com, is a fun place to go to just see everything that is and that we have done over the years. We're running wild, baby. We're running wild in the NHRA drag racing community. So I get in on Friday to Vandermeer Speedway. I'm super excited to see Vandermeer once again. It's been a while. Monica says safe travels. Thank you very much. Have a safe trip. Blake, thank you so much. Thank you to everybody out there. You guys have been great. And Blake, restrooms on the pit side at Norwalk are nice, especially for individuals like me who use a wheelchair or have a disability. I'm grateful. Exactly. You can lose a fan forever because your bathrooms are jacked. No matter how good the program, no matter how much fun they had. How are the bathrooms? Yeah, they were jacked. we're not going back, or mom's not going back, or little sis isn't going back. That's how people make decisions. And we've been saying it for years on WFO. Art says, is there any way you could get the Texan for an interview? Yeah, the Eddie Thrill Hill. I hear he doesn't. Was talking to Dominic about this and Bobby about this. Like Eddie Hill, I heard he was out there at the track in Houston just as a fan. I want you to try to find him. We'll try. Simple as that. We'll try our best. We'll see if we can make it happen. No promises. But then again, this is WFO. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you in Denver.